Programming yourself. Programming yourself does not need to be difficult. It does not need to be something that you are worried about doing. At the end of the day, with a few simple considerations, you too can take complete control of yourself and ensure that you are better able than ever to lead the life that you want. Within this chapter, we are going to look at how you can take control of that power for yourself. You are looking at the methods that you can use to ensure that you do, in fact, get the power that you are looking to obtain. All you have to do is make sure that, all things considered, you are better able to recognize the patterns that you need to follow. Within this chapter, we are going to address the ways in which you can work to program yourself. Oftentimes, NLP is learned and developed with the sole intention being to take control. It is designed to allow for the development of the beliefs and habits that you need. You are in charge of yourself. You can learn to control your mind. You can learn how you can take control of the patterns that you live by, rewriting that map once and for all, and ensuring that you do, in fact, develop the understanding that you need to change who you are, how you behave, and more. It is simple to learn. And as long as you are willing to do so and put in the effort, NLP can become an incredibly useful tool to aid you in your own personal self-development. What NLP targets? When it comes to programming yourself, there are 3 ways that you will really be able to aid yourself in becoming the best version of yourself that you can become. You can develop the state that you are looking to master. You can work on your story that you tell of yourself. You can change the strategy through which you work through life. In targeting these, you can make the changes that you want to have. Changing your state. NLP firstly works to change your state. This is your emotions or mood that you are in at any point in time. When you have that consideration, you need to realize that ultimately, the way that you interact with the world is determined entirely by the way in which you engage with the world. You can recognize that your state, that emotional feeling that you have at any point in time, is directly related to the ways in which you interact with the world. And then, that consideration means that you will also be able to figure out how to best change them. You know that your state will influence the behaviors that you have, sometimes in very dangerous ways. And that can be a huge problem for you. You must be able to take control of everything that you have going on. You must be willing and able to take complete and utter control over the mindset that you have. And learning NLP, you will get that power. Changing your story. NLP will also aid you in changing your story. This is the narrative of the life that you have lived so far. Usually, this narrative is highly corroded or highly corrupt. It could be that you are not thinking about the way in which you are behaving. It could be that you think that the way that you have lived your life is actually more of a problem than it actually is. It could be that your story has become some sort of an excuse for why you cannot take control in the first place. However, you can reframe that story. You can rewrite the way that you talk to yourself, and if you do that, you know that you can better work on the ways in which you talk to yourself. You can better work on the ways in which you talk to yourself. You can develop the ability to better work with other people. You can show yourself the ways in which you are able to control yourself. You can ensure that ultimately you do remember that you must keep track of the way in which you talk to yourself. And if you can reframe everything, you know that you are able to better work with yourself so your future behaviors can fit what you wish to do in life. Changing your strategy. Finally, you can use NLP to help you change your strategy. The strategy is the mental map that you develop. It is the way of thinking that you will need to follow if you hope to really be able to take complete and utter control over the thought processes that you have to follow. When it comes down to it, the strategy that you follow, those mental maps that you create, will control everything. No matter what it is that you want in your life, and no matter how much you wish to change what is happening, you want to ensure that you can, in fact, change them. It will not be easy, but it is something that you can do. All you have to do is work to defeat the habits that you are likely to have developed during the course of the time that you have done so. If you can work to change your strategy, you can then begin to work to change your behaviors. The keys to developing yourself. What you must do if you wish to develop yourself is to work hard to implement the principles of NLP. You must work hard to ensure that, ultimately, the way that you attempt to approach the world around you is appropriate for what it is that you hope to achieve. Ultimately, what you want to achieve is dependent upon yourself and what it is that you seek to achieve. To develop yourself, you must be able to implement certain patterns and steps to ensure that you can change yourself and your thinking. You can become more positive and effective in your life. You just have to try. To do this, you must follow a few key points and make them your way of life. Understand your patterns. This is learning to recognize what you are doing in the moment. If you want to develop yourself, you must learn to read yourself and how you behave. Usually, we all have habits that can become problematic for us. You must be able to recognize what those problematic habits are and how you can better understand what is going on within you. You need to understand the fact that your thoughts will create feelings, and your feelings will create the behaviors. When you see the ways in which your entire being is driven by those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, the habits that are led become far easier to identify. You become capable of seeing the ways in which you behave and the ways in which you must change yourself to fix the problems. When you can begin to understand the way that you behave and understand how they originate, you are well on your way to developing yourself with NLP. Change your patterns. You must, after identifying your patterns, learn to change them. You can either enhance the ones that are working for you, allowing yourself to better yourself and ensure that you choose behaviors that work for you, or you can try to change the patterns that you live by. When you are able to get in and either confirm or deny those patterns, you begin to see the changes that you are looking for. Whether those changes were continuing to follow those behaviors or changing those behaviors to become something that is easier than ever to follow along with, you will know that you are better prepared. You will know that you are more likely to succeed. The changes of the pattern are the catalyst to get that lifestyle that you are looking for. Communicate better. In the process of changing yourself and your patterns, you begin to communicate better as a direct result. That communication that you live by becomes easier than ever. And if you can develop those better behaviors, you will know that you are more prepared than you thought to ensure that you do live these positive behaviors. When it comes down to it, you must be able to communicate, both with yourself and with others, if you hope to keep the process working for you. Achieve your goals. The next key point that you must ensure to follow is to achieve your goals. Remember, NLP is highly driven by goals. If you are not careful and you do not try to do so, you are likely to struggle to meet those goals, and that is a problem. However, remember that you can develop the ability to achieve them if you take the time to do so. You can change your behaviors to ensure that ultimately you can become the person that you want to be. You can motivate yourself to succeed if you take the time to do so, and that is highly powerful. In working to achieve your goals and ensuring that you continue to think about that achievement, no matter how you approach your life, you will be better able to thrive. Recognize your mind's language. You must also be able to stop and understand the language of your mind. Remember, language is a major component of this, and if you do not keep that in mind, you will not succeed at what you need to do. You will not be able to keep yourself successful if you are not paying attention to what you need to do and how you tell yourself about it. You must always spend the time to understand the way in which your own mind operates so you can understand what to expect with yourself. You must be willing and able to recognize the ways in which you speak to yourself if you hope to be successful. And that involves the use of learning to master the use of language and change it to something that is more beneficial to you. Endeavor to improve above all else. Finally, when it comes right down to it, you must also be able to improve yourself. You must approach everything as if you were attempting to improve. You must have the mindset that you can improve if you hope to do so. If you cannot keep yourself in that mindset that you can do better and that you will do better, you likely will fail to do so at all. You must be able to recognize that ultimately, the way that you control yourself and the way that you think about yourself matters greatly.